Hey everybody, it's GombletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing the January 2023 Arena Open, which is going to be a Kaldheim Sealed Deck event. As always, the Arena Open is one of the highest stakes entry-level events on Arena. You have to spend 5,000 gems or 25,000 gold, and you only get it back if you get a 7-win run. That being said, if you do, you'll get a qualification for Day 2, where you get to compete for potential cash prizes up to about $2,000 if you get a very, very nice run. So this is a super competitive event. It's going to be a very difficult one to even Day 2 in the first place, but we're going to do our best here. And without further ado, let's bust open these packs and see what we get to build today. Alright, here's a look at the rares we have today. One of them stands far above the rest, the Furious Retribution here, essentially a cheaper Serra Angel, 4 mana for a 4/4 Flying Vigilance. It can also tap to destroy creatures with power less than its power on the second turn of the saga, and on the third turn, you get to give it double strike. So this is a Serra Angel for 1 less mana that if your opponent doesn't destroy, gets to destroy something as it attacks and then hit for 8. So Furious Retribution, absolutely absurd bomb, definitely our best rare. We then have 2 pretty bad ones, well 3 pretty bad ones. We have Blightstep Pathway, which is kind of just worse than like getting a black-red snow duel at common. We have In Search of Greatness, which doesn't do enough for the mana cost, it just sits there basically doing nothing. Blessing of Frost, which is really difficult to get any value off of this in Sealed, where you're just not going to have enough snowlands to do much in terms of +1/+1 counters, so you just need a ton of big creatures on board in the first place to draw some cards with this, so not a very good rare there either. Then there's Doomscar, which is also not the greatest. It's fine for a more controlling deck that has access to double white easily, but it's kind of hard to build that kind of deck in this format. Most of the white decks in the format are pretty aggressive, white being the most aggressive color outside of maybe red. And then our second best rare behind the Retribution is Birgi, God of Storytelling, which is a solid front half, a 3 mana 3/3 that can give you some extra red mana or let you boast twice, and a really powerful back half, letting you discard a card to exile the top 2 cards of your library and play them this turn. So kind of a red card draw engine, pretty powerful. So the one rare I really want to play is Furious Retribution, so here's hoping we have some great support in white. We don't need that much black to go with it, we can definitely splash in the black, but yeah, preferably a bunch of good white. Maybe we could even go like Boros, like red-white here, with the God of Storytelling and the Retribution and Blightstep Pathway to help splash in the black for Retribution, but we'll see. Let's see what our commons and uncommons look like in this sealed pool. So first, I do like to check out the multicolored and colorless here to see if there are any powerful multicolored cards leading us in any direction, and if there's any solid colorless cards that'll fit into every deck. We have some okay colorless cards like some Raiders Carves and a Raven Wings, maybe a Replicating Ring if we're a grindier, more multicolored deck, but these aren't cards that are going to fit into every single deck, so nothing super exciting there. We do have a Cole the Forge Master if we do go Boros, but looks like we don't have any equipment anyway, so that's a little awkward there. But there are a few colored equipment spells in the set, so maybe we'll still have something to work with Cole. There's Sfella for red-green, but Sfella's really at their best when you have a bunch of good snowlands and stuff to go for the multicolored grindy snow rampy deck. And if you take a look at this, massive bummer here, a really big downside to our sealed pool in this format. We have 0 snow duels. So we're going to have a really hard time playing a good grindy snow deck in the first place, especially if we're trying to play multiple colors. So that's going to be super difficult. So we're really hoping for good support for maybe like Boros Splashback, Black for Furious Retribution, Cole the Forge Master, Ravenwing, stuff like that. Just really fingers crossed for red-white aggro, because multicolored snow, not really going to work out without good lands for it, or at least something like Glittering Frost. We have 0 Glittering Frost as well to work with our Sculpt Overwinter. We only have 1 Pathway and a Replicating Ring for mana fixing. I guess there's like Horizon Seeker? Yeah, no. Green multicolored snow is pretty much impossible in this sealed pool, even with Spirit of the Alderguard. Very sad time for that card, so see how things look going through all of our colors here. All right, first and foremost, starting things off with white, I do have some decently good news. Giant Ox isn't really going to work here. Doomscar's not really going to work here. Revitalize and Valor of the Worthy aren't very exciting. Doomscar Oracle also not exciting, but Clarion Spirit, one of the best white aggro cards. If you're casting a bunch of 1 and 2 mana creatures, you can spit out some 1/1 flyers along the way. We do have a couple decent 1 mana creatures, the Battlefield Raptor and the Code Spell Cleric. We have a Beskir Shieldmate for another good 2 mana creature. We have a removal spell with Bound in Gold, some champions to get some blockers out of the way, and a Warhorn Blast for a potential Anthem effect later in the game to find that lethal. So just white-based aggro looks pretty solid here if we have a good secondary color. It's not very deep of a color. We could run a Doomscar Oracle if we need to. We could run a Valor of the Worthy if we need to. And that would put us at 11 cards. So we would need at least 12 in our secondary color. Unless we run that Raven Wings, I guess we could do that. Maybe run some of those Raider Carves, some vehicles or something. So yeah, if we have 10, 11 good red or black aggro cards, I think we could definitely get there with a white-based aggro deck. So moving on to blue now. All right, blue looks pretty terrible. We have a lot of cards that are like borderline unplayable, like Undersea Invader. The fact that this comes in tapped is such a huge downside that this card is worse than just a 6 mana 5/6 with no text. Generally, I find it very bad. Ravenform is another card with an incredibly low win rate because it's it's infinitely worse than stuff like Bound in Gold, where it's not even 1-for-1 removal, it's removal that's giving your opponent something back. And 1-for-1 removal is where you want to be at worst with your removal spells. We then have some mediocre interaction with Depart the Realms, but we do have a few good cards. The good cards that we have here are 2 Giants Amulets for 5 mana 4/5s that have hexproof as long as they're untapped that leave behind this nice equipment. An Avalanche Caller if we have a good amount of snowlands. We already saw we have 0 snow duels, so this probably isn't going to be very good, but it could be okay. And then Frostpire Arcanist, if we have a secondary color with some good instants and sorceries, this could be good. But it doesn't actually have anything that synergizes well with it, even in blue, which is a huge bummer, because the only instant or sorcery we have duplicates of is Depart the Realm. Not the greatest thing ever to grab some duplicates of. So blue overall looks pretty mediocre. Mists of Lityara is not where you want to be. Rune of Flight's pretty filler. Stroke's fine, but then Bind the Monsters and Departs are also pretty filler. There's just no massive reason to be in blue, the best cards being the Amulets and the Behold. So, not a massive fan of that. Taking a peek at our black cards now, there's some cards I really don't want to play like Dogged Pursuit. Not a big fan of Skull Raid or Raise the Draugr either. Unless your curve is really good, I don't love Infernal Pet, but if we're black-white, we'll probably be playing it for that double spell stuff. Draugr's Helm basically a 5-drop, and then Dreadrider at 6 is a lot of mana, so black just doesn't look that deep. I mean, we have a couple very good cards like Feed the Serpent for excellent removal and Elderfang Disciple being pretty good, the Helm being pretty good, but it's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8 cards is not enough to support the good white. We need like 11, 12, so. Plus they're not that good. The big reason to be here being Feed the Serpent, outside that, there's definitely some filler like Grim Draugr, Infernal Pet. Nothing great going on in black. Here we are in red now, really hoping for the best from this color. The problem is we've got some really bad non-creature spells like Open the Omen Paths, that's basically unplayable. Dual Strike as well, pretty much unplayable. Vault Robbers are super bad for aggro decks. 2 mana 1/3s are not where you want to be. Outside of that, though, Provoke the Trolls isn't great. Reinforcements, Immersturm Raider. There's definitely some filler in here, but everything else is perfectly playable. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's closer than black in terms of quantity of cards for a secondary color to our white aggro deck. So it might get there. It's better than the black, I think, by a little bit. Not a ton, but it gives us the potential Horn of Bounty as a nice card draw engine in the deck. We can go wide well with the reinforcements. Actually starting to get very concerned about the quality of this sealed pool. Because we can't do grindy multicolored snow stuff, and none of our aggro stuff really has enough cards to quite get there. So it almost is starting to feel like we can't do anything. we're going to have to run a bunch of filler in whatever we decide to do here. Or just play a snow deck with 0 mana fixing and just cross our fingers until they snap off. Alright, taking a look at our green. This is the deepest color that we have by the looks of it right now, but I haven't cut out the pretty much unplayable cards yet. If I do, it's still the deepest color, so maybe we're just some weird green-white aggro deck. It's got the best removal with 2 struggles for Skemfar. It has good counterspells for opposing removal spells like Snakeskin Veil. It's also got a good curve. We've got plenty of 2-drop creatures, which is what we want with those Clarion Spirit style cards that want us to double spell. So weirdly enough, I kind of think we're going green-white, maybe splash black off of cards like Horizon Seeker, and hopefully if we have a snow-covered swamp, Spirit of the Elder Guard can help there too. Super weird, but it's the only color that's deep enough. It's our best color outside of white. This is gonna be a weird one. Let's take a look at our black again and see if there was a snow-covered swamp. There is one snow-covered swamp, so Spirit of the Elder Guard can find the swamp. The Horizon Seeker can find the swamp. That's how we splash in our Furious Retribution here. Okay, this is weird, but it's what we have. It's the best looking deck here. I mean, red-green gives us Arnie Slays the Troll as well, so we might want to take a look at red-green, but I highly doubt, with how relatively filler the red is, like white gives us a great removal spell of Bound to Gold and an excellent aggro card like Clarion Spirit, with a decent curve of stuff, whereas red was a little bit more filler at face value, and then instead of getting Furious Retribution, we get the Horn of Bounty and an Arnie Slays the Troll, which I don't think is quite as good. Like, Retribution's just so ridiculously good that I think it's better to be in white than red. Like, Furious Retribution makes up for not having Arnie Slays the Troll, Sfella, and Birgi. Maybe not all 3 of those cards, but the general white is a little better than the general red too. It's really close. I mean, maybe we take a look at green-red first. Be diligent here. Take a look at the full green-red list, and make sure the green-white splashback black looks better. But I'm fairly certain already. But we'll be 100% certain. So I need to put 3 more cards in. Did I already put Sfella in? I did. Play Raven Wings in here. That's fine. Oh. Play a couple of reinforcements or a Craven Hulk or something. And maybe Immersturm Raider, keep that curve low, and then 1 reinforcements. Something like that. Well, with 2 struggle for Skemfar, we actually want some beefy creatures. Some high toughness stuff, so I actually put a 4/4 there. Even though it can't block well, it plays well with the struggle for Skemfar. This does look like a perfectly reasonable deck. I mean, Arnie Slays the Troll is obviously an excellent, excellent card, as is the potential Horn of Bounty. It's going to be a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. This green-red deck looks pretty solid. There's not a lot of snow going on for Spirit of the Elder Guard to be very big, but it's still a good deal. I mean, it's mostly going to be like a 4-mana 2/4 that drew us a land, or 4-mana 1/4 that drew us a land. I guess it's like a borderline cut, but I'm going to keep it in because it's so iconic. Yeah, we don't have the craziest curve ever. We don't have the craziest late game ever, but we're solid and consistent with some good removal with double struggle, Arnie Slays the Troll. Then some mediocre removal like Provoke the Trolls and Broken Wings. It's definitely a deck. It's definitely an option. I'm going to save it here so that if I do decide that green-red is better, I don't have to rebuild it. But then I am going to go ahead and immediately look at the green-white, which I'm pretty sure is where I want to be. Because again, the Furious Retribution is just so stupid. It's such a ridiculous card. I'm going to fight pretty hard to get it in the deck. The Snow-Covered Plains in for our Spirit of the Elder Guard and our Sculptor of Winter. don't believe I'll be playing Doomscar. Oh yeah, and white has Master Scald as well, so if we draw a Master Scald after the Fierce's Retribution has gone off, we get to return it from our grave to hand and do it again, which is obviously very dumb. In terms of like power level, it's just like way too good. Put 8 planes in here. 8, 9, 10, 18, 19 lands? Oh geez. That's 17, right? 8, 16, 17? Okay. It's equal green and white right now. That's 17 lands, so we got 2 non-lands for this build. This looks better to me. I mean, just immediately. The curve is more aggressive. We can try to cheese out some quick games with Clarion Spirit against opponents that are playing more for grindy matchups. I love main deck Masked Vandal. Probably cut Broken Wings because we have main deck Masked Vandal. And for removal, we have Struggle for Skemfars and Abound in Gold. We even have a Retribution, potentially, if our opponent doesn't kill the Angel. That could be another removal spell. Probably drop the Valor of Worthy as well. Those are the 2 cuts. The cheap little Aura, and then the Broken Wings, and then call it a deck. I'm a very big fan of this. I think I'm going green-white Splash Furia's Retribution here. We have 1 Swamp to cast it. We also have Horizon Seeker and Spirit of the Alder Guard to pick it up, to find that swamp. So that's kind of like 3 black sources. I think I do want to play 1 more swamp in the deck, have 2 natural black sources and 2 ways to tutor it out. So we'll take a look at the green versus white here. 12 to 10, but I do need double white for Retribution, and I don't need double green for anything. So I think I'm actually cutting 1 forest to add in 1 swamp. But I'm pretty sure this is the deck I'm rolling with today. I could see, like, I think that the green-red deck is pretty solid too. I think the decks are really, really close in power level. But I love this very natural, nice, quick curve here. And we still have almost just as good beef as the green-red deck, honestly, with just a 5/5 and a 4/4 top end. There wasn't too much going on top end in green-red either. The biggest thing being Sfela's activated ability to try to take over the game with. But here we just try to be more aggressive, cheese that game out quickly. I like it. I'm into it. This is going to be the deck. Alright, here's a look at the final deck we're going to be playing with today. We weirdly enough ended in this like green-white aggro build. We have a lot of cheap white cards that want us to cast 2 spells in 1 turn. The biggest payoff, of course, being the Clarion Spirit here. But we also have like Code Spell Cleric that wants us to double spell. So with some green removal like Struggle for Skemfar foretelling to be cast for cheap, that can help out with that. As well as just having a bunch of 2-drop creatures, thanks to all of our green 2-mana creatures as well. So a nice aggressive curve of 1s, 2s, and 3s to just get on the board, get attacking in aggressively. And then our green also gives us access to some good mana fixing and decent late game with Horizon Seeker and Spirit of the Alder Guard. Good late game activated abilities like the late Yara Glade Warden to try to take over long game, or a Raven Wings to get us into the sky to get the last few bits of damage. And the one very big bomb of Furia's Retribution splashed in off a few swamps here with our mana fixing to potentially win the game as well. This gives us an Angel, lets that Angel potentially destroy something, and then do a ton of damage to our opponent in the sky. We've got more good interaction, again, 2 Struggle for Skemfar and Bound in Gold for removal, and a Snakeskin Veil to help protect our cards. So it's like a very solid green-white deck to be playing with today. Without further ado, let's get into the gameplay. Here we are in game 1 with a really awkward draw mana-wise. We've hit one of our 2 swamps and none of our forests for our Struggle for Skemfar. I still have multiple 3-mana creatures and a 5-drop for later in the game. Kind of feels like I have to keep this. Very tempted to mulligan because it is pretty awkward mana-wise. I do have, what, 7 green sources in the deck? I guess it's not all that powerful anyway, right? Like we're just casting 3 2s and 2 3s on 3. Yeah, it's nothing super tempting me into keeping it outside of the fact that I can technically cast most of the hand. I can cast these and then any 2 lands gives me the Scald, but it's not really doing all that much. Even if I do hit the green source, and if I don't, I'm really unhappy, so yeah, we'll take the mulligan. This hand is actually worse. I do have more white sources than green sources in the deck, so we're more likely to get the white splash. And I really can't afford to mulligan to 5 here. Like, I still foretell a struggle, and as soon as I hit any creature I can cast it. I have like 7 2-mana creatures in the deck, only 2 of which are white, something like that. If I get any of my green 2-drops, you know, I'm good. I'm golden. I think I ditched the forest because I really need to hit a plane so badly that even if I hit like another forest so I know I can play Outrider, I'm still not winning. So we ditched the forest here, and then we still want to hit more lands. Yep. We want to hit more planes off the top, ideally. There's like 8 in the deck. Yeah, 8 planes in the deck. Okay. Not an ideal start to game 1. Both of our hands were not good. But we do immediately hit the planes here, which is quite valuable. Now I can put the Clarion Spirit on board. Nothing else to put on board here, which is awkward. I think I do just put it down. If I had anything else to play, I would play it first, so that if they have any removal, it might get spent on something other than Clarion Spirit, but since I've got nothing else to do there, we'll just drop that down. And it looks like I'm not going to get too much Clarion Spirit value this game. We're pretty unlikely to cast 2 spells in 1 turn here, because I'm pretty sure while they don't have any creatures on board, I'm supposed to just keep slamming stuff down as quickly as possible. Get as much damage in while we can. Now we have to bound in gold on that. Could save bound in gold for later and just Raven Wings for now. But if I just Raven's Wings and try to outrace this, they're going to put a pick on it and start hitting me for 4 every turn, which I won't have a good block for, and they'll get treasures off the pick, so I think I do bind it. Draugr Necromancer. That is obviously an issue, but as soon as I can get Outrider down, I can struggle that with Outrider. And there we go, there's the 5th mana. Don't have any attacks here, but I do play an Outrider and pass. So Necromancer's a really big bomb. This is a massive issue. So whenever one of our creatures dies, they exile it. And they can cast our creatures from exile. They won't have the right colors of mana for our green cards unless they get treasure tokens or play a snow land, but they can cast our white stuff, so Necromancer is a really big deal. Is it a big enough deal that I have to struggle for Skemfar for the 2-for-1 trade? I trade my Outrider and my struggle to kill the Necromancer? It's awkward, but I honestly think it is. I have to struggle for Skemfar and lose my Outrider to kill this. Luckily, though, I do get to double spell this time because I drew a 1-mana creature, so that's pretty beautiful. Pretty exceptional. Alright, just a land for them. 2 cards in hand. Dread Rider is one of them. That's a pretty big, pretty scary one. I think Raven Wings is... I'm gonna put in a lot of work here. Don't know if it's going to win us this game, but it's putting in work. 3, 4, 5 damage every turn. We kill them in 3 swings. They have no life gain. They can get the pick to get some treasures, but... yeah, no life gain. We probably just try to race here. Go for the 3-turn clock. Alright. 2 more attacks and they're dead. Oh, I should have moved the wings over so I could kill Champion if they didn't tap my creature down, but... fairly certain they're going to tap my creature down. And if they put a pick on it, I can't kill it anyway. Yeah, they're tapping the Shield Mate. Alright, take it all. They get a treasure. Put the pick onto the pets. Just a land for us. We got to attack with everybody and then do it again next turn. That's our only line. Alright. This time I can actually move the wings, though. You got 1 turn to kill me. That's a land for them as well. That's not going to do it. I believe we're going to start off 1-0. Tap down my dork. I'm down to 4. They have no flyers. They can move their pick around, but we hit for 5. And they are dead. A very close game 1 there. Solid stuff after a mulligan there. Here we are for game 2 of our Kaldheim Arena Open Sealed Run. We will keep this hand. We've got all 3 colors of mana, and I have a 2-drop, a 3-drop, and a 5-drop to play around with. So we've got stuff to do throughout the game. We'll roll with it. Green-red from our opponent. They're going to start with a Glade Walker. We are going to copy them here. Play our own. Gold Vein pick from our opponent is very bad for us. I have not opened up any Gold Vein picks today, which is brutal. I did 1 run before this. It was 0-3. It was pretty devastating, and it was not great content, so that one's not going to YouTube. This is my 2nd attempt at the Arena Open. Don't think I'm going to do too many more if I don't win this time around. Trying to save my gyms for the potential Phyrexia All Will Be One Arena Open next month. I do really focus on the standard Arena Opens. The Arena Opens for the brand new sets, those sealed events. So, what do I do here? Not a lot. Gold Vein pick's really going to take this game. Play a Gold Maw champion and try to double block Glade Walker, I guess. Then they get to kill champion with their 2-2 because it's got that equipment buff. I guess I could just play Doomscar Oracle and go for the 1-for-1 trade on blocks. Stop the pick from going. And then, if they don't want to attack into it, I could play Champion and Snakeskin Veil next turn. Go for my double spell value, but all it is 2 life gains. It's not that valuable. But this is a creature that lets me threaten to kill Glade Walker just with a single block here. But they're Jund here and have a treasure token from the Gold Vein pick. Again, premium card. Highly recommend putting this in the vast majority of your sealed decks if you open one up in this format. Just a very good colorless mana fixing. Our sealed pool today has pretty horrific mana fixing again. No dual lands, no Gold Vein pick in colorless. Jesus, they have Binding the Old Gods turn 4 as well. I'm feeling very outclassed here, card value wise. Turn 4. We can't play an Outrider. I can struggle, but my Glade Walker just trades if I struggle, which isn't ideal. I guess I just play a Gold Maw and hold up a Snakeskin Veil. Which again does not feel awesome because they get to keep getting all these treasures. Any kind of bombs they have in their whole deck will be very castable regardless of what colors they are. They could play pretty much any bomb in their sealed pool if they have enough treasure production in there. I'm not in love with trading a Snakeskin Veil into Guardian Glade Walker, but I think if they make that attack, I'll probably try to do that. There's some kind of like Jund deck here with like Binding the Old Gods. I don't think they're going to be running like Run Amok here. I don't expect a ton of combat tricks. So I feel like this is worth the attempt. Yeah, no combat trick there, so we just kill that. Move on with our lives with a 3-4 Gold Maw champion. Well, there's a Woodland Chasm. That is more dual lands on their board than in our entire sealed pool. Sad day. Well, I've got a Pathway, but no snow duels. And Pathways generally unlimited are just weaker than straight up dual lands because you have to have them on just one of the 2 colors locked down instead of being able to bounce them back and forth if you want. I cannot really beat a Ravenous Lindworm. That is going to be a 7/7 with a Gold Vein pick on it. Guess I can double block with Outrider Glade Walker, and that is what we've got. I'd love to double block with Outrider Champion, but it has Death Touch this turn, so if they're just going to put a pick on it and attack, we're going to be trading 2 creatures into it either way, so we might as well trade the smaller 2 creatures into it. Ravenous Lindworm is, I believe, the highest win rate common in the whole format. A very, very premium card you want in your green in your sealed pools. Another card I've opened 0 copies of so far today that I'm pretty sad about. If you've watched any of my Kaldheim drafts on YouTube, and especially over at Twitch, you can check that out in the link in the description below if you're interested. I am in love with Linda, the Ravenous Lindworm, but I haven't opened any today, which is super sad. Arnie Slays the Troll, another incredible saga, pretty on par with Binding the Old Gods. It's a removal spell, then they get 2 counters on their board, then they gain a ton of life. Really, really looking bad for us here. This Lindworm takes over the game regardless. I can Masked Vandal the Arnie Slays the Troll, but we don't have good blocks for just the beef that they've got out here. And we're running some of the beefiest stuff in our whole sealed pool, so not a lot we could have done about this even in deck building. We're just gonna have a bad time. That's a very good draw. Now they don't even have to worry about me double blocking or triple blocking. Premium equipment to have on top of the deck there. Now they just hit us for 8 in the sky 2 turns in a row and it's over. That's the kind of top deck that's like, they were already in a pretty good position. They could have done some math, figured out where they want their equipments, what they want to attack with. But that's the kind of top deck that's like, oh, well, I guess I just get to turn my brain off and do this. That's just 2-turn lethal, literally nothing to think about then. Very, very good draw for them. And we're super dead. Moving on to game number 3 now. Okay, here we are in game 3. This isn't the best hand ever, but we have both of our most important colors of mana and decent 3-mana creatures, a good late game one. I'm gonna keep here. Not in love with it, but it's certainly not worth a mulligan. Turn 1 Battlefield Raptor from our opponent is pretty threatening. And I accidentally moved things around there, sorry about that. Hopefully that didn't mess with the recording at all. That was kind of weird. Alright, they play a Fearless Liberator turn 2, so we're getting curved out by Boros aggro. This could be bad. Thing is, we even drew the Shield Mate, so this wouldn't be that bad if we were on the play, but on the draw. 1-drop, 2-drop is scary. Okay, no 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, so we are okay. I was very much expecting 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, and then I just cry my way home into game number 4. Drop the Recluse. If they don't have a trick, they can't attack at all anymore. I'm only taking 1 damage a turn. So I could just play a Gold Maw Champion and then make it really hard for Liberator to get in. That way I get to attack for 2 here. Yeah, I'm only taking 1 a turn. Let's just let the Raptor do its thing for now. Start racing on the ground. It's a Firewalker from our opponent. Do they have the Struggle as well? Yep. Struggle off the Highland Forest again. More dual lands than we've got in the whole sealed pool. Pretty sad about that. We're falling behind quickly. I can only play 1 spell this turn. I can't attack into the 4-3. I can't block the 4-3 well. If I set up a 2-3 body, I still can't block the 4-3 well. I would double block it and lose both creatures. Guess I just play the Recluse here, which holds the Raptor off and trades 1 for 1 into the Firewalker. Horizon Seeker also would have been solid. It holds off the Firewalker and potentially like boasts in. There's a Finn. That's pretty solid. And now I can actually play 2 creatures this turn. And I Glade Walker a counter onto itself so they can't shoot it to dead with the mob. They could shoot the shield mate and kill it, but I still get a 1/1 off of that when it dies anyway. Yep, that seems reasonable. Alright, we're very much on the defensive here, but we've got a lot of blockers down. We can wait it out a bit here. We've got some pretty good draws we could get to. Our man is very far away from hitting our bomb rare, though. If we draw into Furia's Retribution, we need another white and black source. But cards like Raven Wings are still very good draws. Alright, I think I'd rather just trade my Death Toucher into the 5/4 here. They're primarily red-white, so at least on board. I don't expect too many more big creatures to trade into, whereas having the Recluse for the flyer I think could be relevant for the rest of the game more easily. And it's stopping this damage forever, this battlefield wrapper damage. Ooh, struggle for Skemfar. Very interesting. Could kill the battlefield raptor, but again, as long as I have a not vote recluse on the board, I don't really need to. They don't exactly have any attacks here, so I guess just playing my Horizon Seeker and getting ready to boast that in to help get our land for the Grizzled Outrider. And once we get an Outrider, then we have like the biggest creature on board, and we get to start trying to turn the board state in our favor from then on. They're going to send the Firewalker in here. Unfortunately, I think I do actually just take the 1-for-1 trade of Horizon Seeker, as excited as I was about potentially trying to hit lands off of it. Yikes, yeah, Run Amok's pretty good. 1-for-1 trade, Run Amok for Horizon Seeker. Normally that wouldn't be a massively big deal, but the fact that they hit an actual playable off Firewalker makes it a very bad deal for me. Spirit of the Alder Guard does hit the mana we need to play Outrider next turn, which is nice. We're probably going to have to struggle for Skemfar this Valkyrie, because the Recluse will only trade into it, and I won't have a flying blocker anymore if I take that trade. I've got a 2/4 to block with here, 2/4 and a 1/1 for Firewalker. We can send Glade Walker in. But keeping Recluse to hold off Raptor. Way better at doing that than it is at just trading in the Liberator here. Alright, take 3 in the sky. They're going to boast to a Valor of the Worthy, an aura for +1/+1, and then when the card dies... Oh my god, another combat trick? Well, normally you can't expect that many decent cheap combat tricks when you're not playing draft, but I guess this is just a super synergy Boros aggro sealed pool. So they got us. I can struggle for Skemfar, this Valkyrie, trade my Glade Walker into it. That's super bad. 6 mana. This Firewalker has been atrociously bad for us. It's gotten them 2 solid playables in a row. The Firewalker don't miss. The Recluse can't even block the Raptor anymore anyway, so I just struggle for Skemfar the Raptor with the Recluse, I guess. That's the best that we've got, because the Recluse actually survives that fight, and then we have to just trade the Recluse into the Valkyrie. This is just a big yikes all around. That's a very good draw. 4/2 on the board and kill one of my 2 blockers that I'm just pretty incredibly dead. If I block Valkyrie, I'm dead on board. So I'll go to 1 this way. And they have a Showdown of the Skalds in their deck? I mean, I guess it's Exiled Forever, but we were phenomenally outclassed there again by Sealed Pool. 1 and 2 it is, heading into game number 4, doing our best to rally into some more wins here. Because 1 more loss and we are out of it. Well, this is the most explosive hand we have opened so far. If I draw a Swamp, we're in an incredible position. Unfortunately, our opponent's on the play again. Obviously pretty bad. Means they get to curve out before us, try to keep pressure on us. Or if they're a slower deck, it just gives them more time to find stabilization against our aggro. I think I'm going to foretell the Oracle and get as much value off Clarion Spirit as possible, so I can go Spirit Oracle next turn. Herald? Please miss. Please don't let that be a 3-mana 3/2 that draws a card out of the top 5. Okay, they missed on Herald. One thing has gone in our favor today. That is nice. Alright, Clarion Spirit Oracle. And we pass the turn. I'm not that opposed to trading an Oracle and a Spirit into Herald here because of that menace. Cool, get that out of here. A Slitherboar Pathway. That is the green-black pathway, playing it on green, and play an Infernal Pet to pass the turn. Now I can Masked Vandal to exile their Raven Wings and play Finn to play 2 cards this turn. To trigger Clarion Spirit again, which is very, very nice. Set up some nice 2-for-1s there, and then pass the turn. I don't want to trade Clarion Spirit into the Infernal Pet, because it could get me another Spirit later. Coma's Faithful on board, just a 3/1 lifelink. Our 1/1 Flying Spirit is very good against that. Now a Stalwart Valkyrie, a 3/2 flyer. That is a bigger deal. And the Infernal Pet jumps into the sky too. Okay, all around that was not great. I guess I could foretell Struggle for Skemfar, and then next turn I get to play one of my 3-drops plus Struggle, and then I'm double spelling again. Struggle is going to make Vandal a 2/4 and then fight Valkyrie. A little greedy to do that, but I'm not under too much of a life total pressure, so I think I do just go for the greed line and guarantee another double spell coming up. Again, I could just hardcast the Struggle that turn and not care about double spelling and just have a 2/4 Vandal killing the Valkyrie. I can take another hit here. Alright, land from our opponents, and Ravenous Lindworm. Very good card, but I do have Finn the Fangbearer to block it at least. So I definitely want a Horizon Seeker, although it's not really going to boast into Lindworm anyway. Just going to die. I guess I play Gold Maw Champion, so I could potentially tap down the Lindworm later. We go Gold Maw plus Struggle here. I guess I could buff the Champion. Make that a 3/4 instead of making that a 2/4. Yeah, 3/4 is pretty exciting. 3/4 Champion here. Sure. Get another 1/1 flyer, and we just start sending in with the Spirits. Gonna take a long time to kill them with them, but our opponent doesn't get to crack back at all unless they cast 2 spells in 1 turn to throw the Infernal Pet into the sky. Because we just trade Finn for Ravenous Lindworm. And there's the mana for Furia's Retribution, which is 100% the play here. I could double spell Horizon Seeker Shieldmate, but Retribution's just a dumb magic card. We'll get our Sarah Angel on the board and pass. Next turn I get to attack in with it and kill the Infernal Pet. If they don't get rid of it, they play another Lindworm. That's definitely not good for me, but I think I'm still winning this game. I'm fairly certain I'm still winning this game. Just outrace them with their flyers. Because I get to double spell again now, and this one's a really good blocker. 2 chump blocks in a row. Alright, pass turn. We're double striking our flyer in next turn, hitting for 11 damage. Yeah, they're going to scoop them up there. Furia's Retribution giving us a nice, clean, bomb rare victory. Definitely feels good to be on the other end of that spectrum. We are now 2-2, heading into round number 5. Here we are for game 5. Not the best hand ever. A little high on lands. It's not horrible. I mean, the mana's good. Could really flood out and just run out of gas here, though. Don't think it's worth a mulligan. Vandal into Recluse. Yeah, solid blocks early game. Gets things started. I just really don't want to mulligan into like a hand with a swamp and 2 forests and a bunch of white cards. Very, very possible with this deck. Okay. If they don't play anything yet, I think I'm just going to hold Masked Vandal. Keep it as a naturalized style artifact or enchantment removal spell for later. You struggle for Skemfar. Let's just play a Not Void Recluse here. They got a Poison the Cup on it or something. Elderleaf Mentor, alright. The big problem with the Recluse, it's got that high power, but that tiny booty does not make attacking or blocking very easy at all. Did I have this struggle in my hand on turn 2? Did I just forget to foretell this thing? That would be embarrassing. I probably did. I'm just going to assume I had struggle in my hand last turn and just forgot to foretell it. Foretelling it would have been pretty good here. Hailstorm Valkyrie. That's a 2/2 flyer that doesn't do anything else. That is pretty okay with me. Okay. I can struggle for Skemfar and still hold up Snakeskin Veil now, so I just struggle away the Elderleaf Mentor with my Goldmaw Champion to have a 3/4 that's ready to attack next turn. I don't have a lot of creatures that can struggle really big stuff, so if they play like really big beef in the future, I'm just letting it hang out. So I don't have much other options. Alright. Start using Goldmaw Champion to get attacks in the future. I don't want to go for like a Snakeskin Veil attack as a trick, because then if they just double block Recluse, I'm still really out of luck there. And I guess I could just trade into both of them and then hold the Veil, but not that into it. Blade Walker to buff the Valkyrie to 3/3 stats? Sure. Try to outrace that thing with my boast. Which I guess I'll do. I don't have much else to do. Two mana to boast, 3 mana to Horizon Seeker, 1 to Veil. Yeah, I got enough mana to do everything. They've got an instant here. Hopefully it's like a Jarl or something. If they had a Poison the Cup, I really feel like they would have just already done it a long time ago. Maybe it's like Mammoth Growth? I'm gonna double block Recluse, and then if I Snakeskin Veil, they Mammoth Growth? How bad is that? They'd have 5? Oh. Okay, yeah, this is fine. They're gonna try to Jarl here, and then we Snakeskin Veil? Okay, I guess it's Mammoth Growth. Well, that sucks then. Yeah, I can't do anything about that. I wish that was a Jarl. Could have stopped that. Well, I wouldn't have any attacks without boasting it anyway, so it is what it is. Like my other lines here would be to just sit here and do nothing all game, taking 3 a turn from Valkyrie, and then just hoping to draw better than my opponent. think it's better to be proactive there and force them to have something decent. It's just unfortunate that they did. Another opponent with Binding the Old Gods, just an incredible saga. Removal plus ramp plus the whole board gets Death Touch in the future. I just Masked Vandal that. Honestly, I mean, it stops their ramp, and the ramp could pull out a snow land as well for the Valkyrie. Then my Glade Warden doesn't have any fuel to put +1/+1 counters on anything. I feel like it's probably worth it, though. Is that in the Horizon Seeker? It trades into 2/1/1s. It's not that ideal either. I'll just play Glade Warden and pass. I guess I'll pretend I have something good in hand. I should probably just play the Plains. I mean, I guess I could keep it in case they top deck an Elderfang Disciple. One that makes us discard a card. So that if I draw a non-land card that I don't want to immediately play, like another Struggle for Scumfor or something. I mean, I guess I would want to immediately play that, but who knows, like maybe I'll draw something I don't want to play the turn I draw it, in which case it would be good to have an extra land in hand, so if they do Elderfang Disciple me, I can just discard the land instead of the good spell. Unfortunately, we're just kind of going to keep passing back and forth here. Although I guess if Horizon Seeker trades off here, at least that puts another card in graveyard for Glade Warden to put counters on my other stuff. And this does get us our black source if we draw the Retribution, and thins another land out of the deck to make it less likely to top deck more land right now. Yeah, there's plenty of decent things this does. It's actually probably a fine trade. Grab our snow-covered swamp here. Alright. Trade there, and I've got my Glade Warden. I can only use Glade Warden as a sorcery, that's kind of rough. I just use it right now on Masked Vandal. I don't think I want to put all my eggs in one basket and make Recluse super big, but making Vandal a 3/4 is already big enough to attack in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll have 8 mana next turn. I can cast the majority of cards in my deck and still use Glade Warden in the same turn off of 8 mana, so I'll just wait till next turn to decide. We are getting hit by Valkyrie, sure. Down to 17. They've got 4 cards in hand. Again, they've got a lot of stuff in hand. They probably just have like a ton of Ravenous Lindworms. Blood on the Snow. That also auto wins. So 2 and 3 it is. We got board wiped pretty hard. 3 cards left in their hand. They got Raise the Draugrs here to reestablish a board state. Yep. They were definitely deck building and playing around the idea that they had a board wipe coming up, so they were going to have some way to reestablish here to guarantee the win. Raise the Draugr certainly fits the bill. Pass turn. That's all we got. I could foretell this thing, I guess, but again, I have 10 lands next turn, so I have enough to cast any spell in my whole deck and struggle in the same turn. So it's actually perfectly reasonable to not foretell this, to give them 0 information on what it might be. Since again, I could just afford to play it with literally anything in the whole deck. I was just hitting straight gas here in the end too. Just a bunch more additional creatures to play along with the Raise the Draugr to board state. They've got 1 snowland to go with Grim Draugr now. There's land number 12 for us. Pretty dead here. Unfortunate stuff today. Been a brutal couple of Kaldheim Arena Opens for me, but I think I am going to stop there, and that will be the Kaldheim Arena Open Day 1 video. Just a 2 and 3 run. Definitely can't win them all, especially with sealed pools and draws like this, unfortunately. Did what we could here. Again, several massive flaws with the sealed pool. No great mana fixing to go for more 4 or 5 color splashy decks. We went for the best bomb we had of Furia's Retribution. We did win the one game we got to cast it, which was awesome, but I don't think we even drew it in any of the other games. And yeah, we also got bombed out a bit with stuff like Blood on the Snow. Just got outclassed by a good synergistic aggro curve in one of the games. And got pretty bad short-term memory, so I don't remember what the first loss was, but obviously, pretty big bummer not to day 2, but I don't think we can get super unhappy about how we built the deck or played today. I don't think there was much else we could do. There is no dramatically better build in the sealed pool. There's a pretty comparably powerful green-red build in here, and that's just about it, honestly. Can't splash in all our bombs. We could have played a Doomscar in here if we really wanted, I guess. About it. But again, we're pretty aggressive curve-wise. Yeah, I mean, that's the only big change we could have done, and I don't think it would have been enough in most of those games regardless. That's even if we drew it. I mean, we drew Retribution once, so who's to say we would even get to Doomscar? Yeah, kind of a bummer today, but what can you do? What can you do? Can't win them all. Again, didn't play perfectly. Definitely sometimes I should have struggled or foretold my struggle and didn't. But I don't think I played horribly today. I think I played perfectly solid. I don't think any of the games came down to losing to gameplay error. I think it was all just kind of predetermined fate. Just variance kind of stuff. Our deck versus their deck. Our draws versus their draws. Whatever. Those games are just predetermined wins and losses there. Not too much to do gameplay-wise. So 2 and 3 it is. Again, bit of a bummer here, but definitely not going to start spewing even more gems into this format. I do like to focus up on the brand new limited formats, so saving the gems to have enough to throw a couple runs at the Phyrexia All Will Be One Arena Open coming up, I think at the end of February. But yeah, that's going to end today's video. Plenty of great limited stuff on the horizon if you're interested in that. We've got Momir's Madness in the middle of next week. That'll be pretty cool. And the next big thing, of course, being Phyrexia All Will Be One. Less than 2 weeks away now, I think, or maybe exactly 2 weeks away, something like that. So very, very soon, we will be drafting and playing sealed of the brand new Phyrexia All Will Be One set. So really cool stuff on the horizon. I will grab my 0 of everything rewards and leave with my tail tucked between my legs for today's Arena Open. And yeah, it's going to end today's video. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send you some more of these videos in your recommended feeds. If you'd like to hang out with me in real time, my Twitch channel in the link in the description below is the best place to do that, the best place to hang out, talk to me, communicate with me, all that. Hop in the chat, have a good time. It's pretty chill over there. And you can check out the Patreon link in the description below if you'd like to support the channel directly. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.